Hi everybody, Ninja Bowler here, and as I said in, I think it was my Nerf Retaliator review, that I would start doing some more, like, metal album, reviews, and here is one. This is the first album slash EP I will be reviewing this year, which is, of course, Alter Bridge's self-titled album. Here it is. I think this is the 8th studio album of Alter Bridge. Correct me if I'm wrong. I will check as soon as I'm done recording this video. And here it is. Now, how is the scoring and the ranking system going to work? Or my rating system, if you will. If I give an album a score of 9 out of 10 or better, so at the lowest, a light 9, then it will be considered a must-listen album. But anything lower than a light 4 is what I consider a do-not-listen-to album. So that is just so you know. So anything under 4, do not listen. But anything over 8, so that means a 9 out of 10 or an 8 out of 10 must listen to album. So that's just so you know. Okay, so Alter Bridge, self-titled album, I would say is a pretty solid album. Here is the track listing of this album. Now, I did really like some songs like Power Down, Playing Aces, and Slave to Master, which I'd say Slave to Master is like my favorite song off this album, mostly because it is a fitting closer to the album, with it being with it fitting being a power ballad of sorts. It was right to make the longest song of the album the last song, because all the other 11 songs build up to the album. No, to the last song of the album. And then the last song comes out, and it feels so rewarding when you get to the end. And it felt pretty similar to songs like Brand New Start, which Brand New Start is my favorite Alter Bridge song, I will say. So Slave to Master is probably my favorite song of this album. My least favorite has to be Hanging by a Thread. And I'll get to why it is my least favorite. What are some pros? Well, here we go. Now, of course, we have to talk about how great the vocals are in this album. I absolutely love Myles Kennedy's vocals. I think he is one of the best vocalists of all time, in my opinion. Like, his vocals did not change one bit on this album. And compared to Blackbird, which is the only other Alter Bridge album I've listened to, just so you know, this is not my first experience to Alter Bridge. I have listened to Blackbird, 10 out of 10 album, by the way. And his vocals are still amazing on this album. I think some of the guitar solos are rather good. And there are some songs that I really thought were fantastic, like I said. The three songs I said, which were Power Down, Playing Aces, and Slave to Master. What are some other good things about this album? Yeah, the instrumentals in general are rather good. So where does this album fall to? What are some problems with this album? First off, as you can tell, there are some songs where I would just hit the skip button on. What Lies Within and Hanging by a Thread, which Hanging by a Thread is my least favorite song, and the reason with that is because of how experimental it is. You see, getting experimental with an album isn't really a bad thing, just as long as the execution is done correctly, and you don't overdo it. The problem with this album, my biggest problem, is the fact that it overdoes being experimental. which kills the pacing of this album a bit. So, yeah, and also with the fact that there are some songs that are not so great that I would just hit skip on, and also the fact that sometimes just one part takes center stage, like the acoustic guitar in Hanging by a Thread, but when it takes center stage, it fails miserably. There was another song that did this where the guitar tried so hard to take center stage, but failed pretty badly. I think it was What Lies Within. So there's that. My problems aren't really too big on this album. I guess the only major problem I have with this album is the fact that it's being too experimental. Oh yeah, and also the pacing. Because of how experimental it is, pacing isn't really that good. Except if we're talking like the last 3 songs off this album, then the pacing is good. But the first 8 songs off this album, the pacing is absolutely all over the place. Like it doesn't know when to stop going so fast, when to throw in a power ballad, or when to go very fast, go extreme, go all that stuff. All that stuff. Go! So, yeah. So, what do I think of this album? Well, they had a lot to go off of. Because it was going to be very hard to top Blackbird. Which I haven't listened to any other, Alter Bridge album besides that, so I don't have too much to compare to. And just so you know, just so you remember, some of the times I am going to listen to albums will be my first experience with whatever singer or whatever band I am reviewing. So, I think it does deliver as an album. I don't think this album is bad necessarily. I think this is a great album. It's just that when the lows are low, they get pretty low. However, thankfully when the highs are high, they get pretty high. So that's why I am going to give this album a strong 7. It's like a strong 7 to a light 8, I will say. Oh yeah, and just so you know, this is the checkmark is the must listen to albums, and the X is the must not listen to albums, the do not listen to albums. That's just so you know for the future. So let's draw this back on Alter Bridge. It's about 7. Yeah, it's a bit better. So yeah, my review on Alter Bridge's self-titled album is a strong 7 to a light 8. Not bad. It's just that I could think it could have been better. So anyways, thank you so much for watching my first ever album review of 2026. And more album reviews will be coming soon as I listen to more albums. Oh yeah, and just so you know, it's gonna be mostly metal albums from albums I find from Album of the Year. However, if you have any non-metal albums that you think I would probably like, or you would recommend me listening to, or just think are really bad, you want me to cover it because you hate me, then maybe I'll do it. If I take it to consideration. But if it's an album I have already listened to, then I will not do it. But if you want my review on that album, then go to Album of the Year, type in Ninja Bolu YT, and you can see my album review on said album. So anyways, thank you guys so much for watching. Make sure you like, subscribe, send this video to a friend, and I'll see you guys later. Goodbye.